Welcome to a Reddit Bites production, the best Reddit channel on YouTube. If you subscribe right now, I will give you a cookie. If you don't, that's cool too. Enjoy the show. Today's AskReddit post. Reddit, what's a weird habit of yours you didn't think was weird until someone mentioned it? Oh boy, this is gonna be a good one. Let's get started. When I was 12, I used to suck in and bite the insides of my cheeks. A teacher at school saw it and copied me as a joke. I saw how stupid it looked and never did it since. I did that too. Still do. Don't think I'll ever stop. End up stopping. I have a line of scar tissue on the left side inside my cheek because I've been biting it since I was a kid. I sometimes use my tongue like a CD slot when eating chips. Didn't even realize I was doing this until my friend suddenly burst out laughing while we were hanging out. I do that too. It's just the best way to consume chips. It truly is. I sniff every cup before I use it. Don't know why. Burrowing in my sleep as well. I have to have my head covered for me to be comfortable. Didn't think it was weird until a college roommate pointed out that he always could tell when I was going to sleep because I just put my pillow or my covers over my head beforehand. I've had people come into my room when I'm asleep and thought nobody was there, so I guess it's a nice defense mechanism against predators. Interesting. I wonder if your cup sniffing is the advanced version of an animal checking to make sure a drinking source is clean before drinking from it. One day I was taking a shower with my wife and I discover that she washes her underpants in the shower and uses the newly washed underpants as sponge to help to clean her body. I said WTF, and she said that her mom taught her to do that. And just like that I found that females on her family have this weird shower tradition. Edit. Bad grammar. Edit 2. For those asking, my wife is Hispanic. Cleaning undies in the shower, sure. They actually suggest you do this with bras because they're so delicate. Using it as a sponge? No mayo. Iced tea nude. Also rarely use public toilets. My ex-boyfriend could only tea nude. Literally the only way he could tea. I feel vulnerable and scared if I try to tea nude, lol. I feel cold. If I bump an object into a wall or a table, etc., I say ouch for that object. Not sure when I began doing it, and obviously I know my toothbrush didn't feel pain when I hit the faucet with its head, but I can't stop myself from saying ouch on the toothbrush's behalf. I apologize to my car whenever it takes a nasty bump, like a pothole or whatever. I pat the center of the steering wheel like, oh baby I'm sorry, and then rub the dashboard soothingly to make sure it knows I didn't mean to. It's doing a good job, and that everything is okay. One of my favorite snacks growing up was cold canned green beans. My mom would just open the can and hand me a fork. I continued eating them like that until my sophomore year of university, when my roommates just stared at me and pointed out how strange it was. I just thought that was the only way to eat green beans. I do this. My grandma actually will drain them and pour them in a bowl with sliced onions and black olives and then put oil and balsamic vinegar over them. And that's really good too, but just straight out of the can is yummy, lol. Dude, that olive snack sounds awesome. I might literally have it right now. I talk to every animal I meet. See in French, my first language. I don't know why I do this, but someone pointed it out when I met their new dog for the first time. Maybe because it's how you're most comfortable speaking and animals make you comfortable and bring out your authentic self. That's some deedle mayo. Whenever I touch or bump something, especially on accident, I feel like I have to repeat that action on the same spot on the other half of my body. Now it's getting to the point where my brain just does it without consulting me first, and it's gotten me some weird looks. Comments. Edit. Wow. Thanks for the gold. I thought this was just me. I don't do it much anymore, but as a kid if I got an itch on my right knee and scratched it, I'd have to scratch the same spot on my left knee or it wasn't fair. One day, my husband raised his arm to put around me while I was sitting on the couch and I instantly flinched away from him. My brother-in-law was shocked and instantly thought that my husband might be hitting me when nobody was around. We laughed it off because he would never do such a thing. He responded with, "She does it every time. I'm just used to it by now. I didn't even realize that I did it." Mind you, I did come from an abusive childhood, so my reflexes are a little defensive. He also pointed out that I am super jumpy and even the lightest of noises make me do a little freak out. I was in an extra grade in a different school than I was until that point, and my friend put a PS2 controller on my lap. I nearly jumped standing in shock. I was always bullied in school and never knew there was such a thing as a positive contact. Then I was around 16. I'm 32 now, and now it's down to 90% of any touching is no problem. I shake milk jugs before pouring a glass or over cereal. I was raised on a dairy farm, so it was necessary with fresh milk. Was about 30 before someone asked why, and I had to think for a minute before I realized I didn't need to with store-bought milk. Wait, what? I thought milk always needs to be shaken before use, especially when first opening the carton. I talk to myself, running conversations through my head. A few words will slip out every once in a while. I do this. My wife points out that it makes me look crazy. She's right. And anyone who thinks talking to yourself doesn't make you look crazy are fooling yourself. We've all seen the weird guy on the bus, subway, street corner, whatever, talking to himself, and you know he looks like someone on the edge of losing it. In a group conversation, I sometimes stay silent for literally 30 minutes and start talking again like nothing. I realized with quarantine, where I suddenly talk and people get surprised I was still in the voice chat after 152030 minutes of not even a word. I have a problem where I just can't interrupt people talking, and also, when they interrupt me, I just instantly stop talking. This can be nice because I don't come across as rude even though I like to talk a lot. But in group conversations, I'm basically always silent because there is always someone talking, obviously. Eating kiwi fruit with its skin until I saw my friends eating without its skin. Then I turned on the incognito mode and searched how to eat kiwi. I had a friend who would eat the entire kiwi, skin included, by fitting it entirely inside his mouth, chewing and swallowing in about 5 seconds. He'd sometimes take kiwis to eat in class and we were all bewildered. Savage. My voice. When I was working in research, a few of us happened to be chatting with a speech pathologist. Someone suggested that he analyze our speech. When he got to me, he kept asking if I was sick or had allergies that day. Turns out my voice is naturally hyponasal. It sounds like my nose is stuffy all the time. I don't mind it, it's just my voice, but I didn't know anything was unusual about it until that moment. Don't you hate that disconnect? You think your voice is deep and SI, then you hear recordings and you're just like, "Dut. I'm a nerd with a speech impediment. FK." I consume everything quickly. I never really gave it any thought until I was having dinner with a friend and he told me I ate like someone that just got out of prison or boot camp. I pat my pillow to fall asleep. Edit. Spelling. What? I pay my pillow to fall asleep. I can shimmy my glasses from the tip of my nose to the bridge using only face muscles. Everyone thought I had a weird twitch. I like to think I'm just efficient. I sneak up and scare people, unintentionally. I've been given the nickname Ninja Nate because I move in and out of rooms without being detected. I close doors quietly. I don't hum, whistle, single, or generally talk when I walk through the house. And I walk so silently that no one can hear my footsteps. This has led to repeatedly scaring people who don't hear me coming, especially when they suddenly turn around or I ask them a question with their back turned to me. I try to get into people's line of sight before approaching them, but inevitably, I will give someone a fright because they didn't see or hear me approaching. Sorry to all my friends and roommates that I've surprised over the years. It's something I've picked during my childhood to avoid being seen or heard because I don't want a verbally abusive parent to shout at me for doing something wrong, like waking up in the middle of the night to get a glass of water. I pick at my lips when I'm stressed out. I've done it since I was a kid, so my mom always gets mad when she catches me doing it. LOL. I try to use chapstick to break the habit, but I always end up doing it without even realizing. Like if I'm watching a suspenseful movie or texting someone about something urgent anxiety inducing. I used to do a similar thing where I put my finger on one part of my hair and turned the hair around repeatedly, making it twist and curl. My mom freaked out one day when hair seemed to thin out in those parts of my head, giving me a Maleficent style widow's peak. Someone will say something to me like at the end of a work shift and I won't respond until the next time I see them, and then they've forgotten about the comment they said just because it took me a few hours to process what they meant. For example, coworker and I were talking about the gym and I said, yeah, you're just as thin, and she replied, no, I'm round, and it took me the next day to tell her she wasn't round SMH. Just because it took me a few hours to process what they meant. Hours? Sometimes it takes a week, and I keep thinking about it the whole night until I get it. Not everything though. I eat too fast. I can finish the same amount of food my wife eats in half the time it takes her. Others have pointed this out too. I don't think it's weird, but it helped me finish my food quicker while in basic training. Me too. Was never in basic training, but I always finished my food faster than my family and friends. And when I try to be mindful of eating slowly, I still eat fast. Hahaha. Yeah, I've tried many times to eat at normal pace, but I can't. I get bored, I guess. Not my habit, but in high school I had a very dear friend who would throw his phone behind his back, up in the air, and catch it when it fell over his shoulder, without fail, every single time. It scared the shit out of me, considering my clumsy old self would definitely have dropped it. He would also randomly deeply inhale with his thumbs at his nose, and also when we'd eat together, whether it had been at my house or at school, he would save exactly one bite of each item on his plate tray until the end of his meal and then eat those bites. I miss him so much, but we went down different paths and don't talk much anymore. He was the coolest dude I knew. Gotta save the perfect bite, trademark sign, for last. I'm guessing he left the parts he deemed best tasting for the last bite, because I do something similar. Asking permission to go to the toilet. If I'm in someone's house that I'm not used to being in, I'll ask, can I use your bathroom? Or something like that. One day someone decided it would be funny to say no, and that's when my mates found out that I won't go if they say no. I'll just sit back down. To change this behavior I started saying, where is your bathroom? So it's not a yes or no question. I know, but that's the thing. It's like I have to have permission. It's just something that makes me jittery. I don't even need someone to mention it to know it's weird. I talk to myself, but like a conversation with myself. More like a conversation with an imaginary audience. Edit. Not like a conversation with myself. It is not that weird. In fact, a lot of people do this, myself included. Anytime I hear something mundane doing a rhythm or tone, like a coin falling, or someone coughing, I just repeated whistling. It makes everyone laugh now. Do you have perfect pitch? I have really bad memory. I pick up something and set it down for 1 second to do something else quick and never remember my original goal. I have to make countless notes, alarms, and Google Calendar events and reminders just to survive. Yet for some reason I have a habit of remembering exact times that only lasts for that day until I sleep and forget those too. Never even noticed or knew until my boyfriend went, how did you sleep? And I said, god awful. I woke up at 5:14 am to a stomachache and fell asleep around 5:46. Woke up again at 8:04 because it was hot, and then woke up the last time at 11:27. It surprised me that he was surprised. Sometimes I do it subconsciously, but I definitely do it knowingly too. Suspicious things might happen in the night and I'm like, cool, so if cops show up tomorrow I'll know that at 2:39 am I heard a suspicious pop that could have been a gun and make the effort to stamp that exact time in my brain for days. In this topic, people learn they have obsessive compulsive tendencies, but they aren't quite OCD, so we just go along wondering if we'll ever be seen as crazy people, right? It's a great reminder that things like this are very much a spectrum and there's no perfect clear line between an eccentricity and a mental health problem. I need to be distracted while eating. If I don't look at my phone or PC screen, even when really hungry, I will be unable to finish even a small amount of food I have on my plate because I will feel full and then get hungry again after 5 minutes. While distracted, I eat slowly, in my own pace, and then don't get hungry again for hours. I noticed it at my aunt's place once when dad told me to stop looking at my phone while having dinner. In the end I ate half of a chicken breast and felt sick, the same way you feel after overeating. That's actually very interesting. Perhaps someone already researched this? I talk to myself. Not just simple words, but full-blown convos. This all started with just simple convos in my head, but after a while it unconsciously evolved to me talking out loud. My mother thinks that I need therapy because she's worried that I'd end up talking to some demon and attempt to kill people. Lucifer has entered the chat. I stir every drink before I drink it. BC the ice melting at the top freaks me out. You having ice in every drink might also be an odd habit. LOL, yeah, I had no idea. I don't drink anything hot ever. It must have ice in it. When I started sleeping with my lady friend, she told me I have night terrors. I never knew as I don't often remember my dreams. Remembering a lot of details about conversations. I'm jealous. I have a chronic illness that causes wicked brain fog and my memory sucks. I can have a full conversation and walk away with very little recollection of what we talked about. It makes me sad because people think I'm ignoring them or that I don't care. Why is said illness? Sometimes I feel like the end of my thoughts are hiding in the fog of war, just outside of my reach. I pace a lot. Sometimes I just have to take 5-10 minutes and pop some music in and walk. My sister and her husband stayed over with my family over the holidays and I guess they saw me doing it. They made fun of me for it, like just sort of joking, not anything too harsh, but I genuinely can't help it. I get very anxious if I can't do it. I talk to myself when I cook and people in the kitchen usually think I am talking to them. They must be flattering themselves to believe they're worthy of your conversation. The volume on the TV has to be on a multiple of 5, of course. I just can't believe there are people in the world who don't do this. I tap the lid of the can 3 times before I open it when I drink Coke, beer, etc. I have no idea why I do it or even that I was doing it until I was at a ring dunk and someone handed me a beer and I tapped it and got asked about the habit. They assumed it was for luck, so I went with that instead of me being a weirdo. I know people who do that because it stops the drink from spurting out when opened. You probably have seen people do this and copied it without thinking. That would make sense. Good to know there's other people who do it. I must have been unconsciously mimicking what other people do. I wear my belt slightly to the left so the buckle is on my hip instead of in front. Is there a benefit? The belt buckle rubs your wrists in a feel-good way. When I was a kid I used to scratch my head so much that I would have bald spots. It wasn't itchy or anything. It just felt like something I needed to do. I'm an adult now and I stopped, but I have no idea why I used to do that. Maybe you had some kind of suppressed anxiety? Maybe it was just a compulsive habit. I randomly start making heartbeat sounds with my mouth when nervous. I'm trying to picture this in my head and every scenario so far seems hilarious. Honey, I'm pregnant, baba, baba, baba. I pick on the skin around my nails and also the skin on my feet. I was first peeling dead skin and now I can't stop peeling skin off my feet or hands. Same. In extreme conditions it's called dermatillomania. I constantly pick at the skin around my fingers and toes. I pick at scabs. I pop pimples. I dig up ingrown hairs. Bite skin off my lips and inside my cheeks. Anything that's not supposed to be on my skin I can't manage to leave alone. Someone's I'll subconsciously begin to give commentary to what's going on around me. It's not weird unless you do it in an Attenborough-esque tone. Then it's hilarious. When someone sneezes I have to say bless you. Even if I hear a sneeze in a public place and I'm not near the person and I know they won't hear it, I still whisper it under my breath. I kinda knew it was weird but my boyfriend pointed it out when we were out to dinner and I was whispering bless you. Guess he thought it was creepy. Remembering random things people tell me about themselves. I began to realize it was creepy after people reacting badly to it. I've been friends with someone for 12 years and barely remember their birthday, but I can remember all kinds of tiny little random things. I too had to stop telling people these things because they thought it was creepy, but I couldn't understand why. I just thought it was interesting and I always wanted someone to do that with me cause it would make me feel important, so I thought they would appreciate it. They didn't really. LOL. So now I just keep it to myself. Nail biting, leg shaking, spacing out, looking left and right constantly. My mom pointed it out to me the other day. She explained that those are all anxious habits. Also excessive body cracking. If it can crack I'll crack it. Also an anxious habit. Same in my case, it's also lip biting. scratching or shortness of breath. This also has another reason. I'm often not aware of it till someone points it out or I snap out of my thoughts. I eat slow. I spend like 30 minutes on a bag of crisps. My girlfriend eats super slow. I try to pace myself to eat near her speed, take a bite when she does or whatever. But when we're at home she'll literally get up and reheat her plate like 3 times because it goes cold while she's eating. I used to date a girl that liked to disassemble her sub from Subway. First she'd pick all the baked in cheese on the bread out, then slowly waver between the veggies and meats on, then follow up with the actual slices of cheese, then basically hollow out the inside of the bread and leave the crusty outside bit. Took her an hour to eat her F-King sandwich. I thought I was the only one that would look for the biggest clipping after clipping my nails and bend between my fingers until I saw George Carlin joke about it. But do you chew it is the real question. Some things are personal, geez. Play with my food before eating it, positioning it the way I want it on the plate, and leaving the best bite for last. I used to do that, now I just eat that first. Edit, word. Bro, you actually watched the whole video. I'd give you a high five if I was a human. Make sure to click the like button and subscribe for more great content. See you next time.